when we were remote and away from everybody and away from help, it was it was scary.
The summer is one thing, the winter's another. It's brutal in the wintertime.
The worst night of my life, and certainly the worst night of Sue's.
I asked him, are you truly prepared for that? A year in complete isolation?
For the first portion of my memory, up till about the age of 13, I was very passionate about the bush. What I wanted to do was to be in the wilderness with a camera, filming lions and tigers and elephants. But something changed when I was in grade 7, I believe. My whole life just completely flipped. From that moment on, all I wanted was music.
Les has always had a great passion for what he decides he's going to be interested in. He digs in deep, all the way.
I started working in rock videos and working for Much Music. I spent probably a good 10 years plus, totally wrapped up in music. That's all I did. But something was changing.
There was something, inside of him that was wrong. There was something eating at him and gnawing at him, and he was indicating at that time that he was looking for something else, that he was very disillusioned with the music business.
Somehow, it wasn't me. And I mean, it was pretty emotional period, stressful period. I thought, okay, so what do I do now? What do I do? All I've known for 12 years and all my adult life has been pursuing a music career. I didn't have to look far, it hit me hard. The wilderness is all I've ever wanted. That's all I ever really wanted, was some involvement with wildlife in the wilderness. Get back to that. And made the change, never look back. The first thing I did was go off and take a survival course just to see what I could get into. And Sue and I met in a winter camping course.
Well, we started off with a friendship and found that we had a lot in common and loved to do a lot of the same things. And it just grew from there. It was very natural.
Sue was equally as passionate about the wilderness as I was. And we just looked at each other and constantly talked about, we've got to do something. We've got to do something big.
The idea was to spend a year in the bush living primitively.
And at the same time, and you can see it all coming together here, at the same time I'm thinking, and then I could film it. Trying to find out where we were going to do this was very difficult. We needed to find a place that was remote enough that we would never see anybody. That was really tough to find. We prepared for 2 years. We read, I don't know how many books, dozens and dozens of books on the subjects, and researched and studied.
He took the time to plan it and worked hard at it, and he enlisted the help of a lot of friends.
We and they spent a lot of time, preparing their food, preparing their clothing, making a lot of primitive instruments.
And so I said, well, chum, good luck. And hopefully you'll survive.
We just wanted to get going. So got in our canoe, turned around, said goodbye. We just paddled up this little lake and we were off and running.
These are the first paddle strokes of a year away, and it was just an incredible feeling.
Getting to our location was a whole other experience, and one we weren't expecting at all. Halfway through, it became a tangled mess of trees and fallen over trees. 12 kilometers as a straight paddle should take you about 4 hours. It took us 4 full days to get up that 12-kilometer creek. Sue in almost delirious agony because her mouth is full of ulcers.
It was the hardest thing I think I've ever done physically.
When we got to the top end 4 days later, then it was pure magic. Loons calling over on the left-hand side and a beautiful sunny day. And it was just like, well, where do you want to live? And this was home.
They were going to be in there in the winter. That part of it was very scary for me. I was very concerned for their safety.
The silence that you hear in the bush is like no other silence at all. You can hear your heart beating. I swear you can almost hear the world kind of turning.
They were isolated. They were living off the land, getting their food from the land, getting their tools from the land.
It's hard to describe. It's just, you feel so free.
We dropped weight like that and built muscles like that and worked 12 hours, 14 hours a day just getting our shelter built.
As well as collecting firewood, and that took such a huge amount of time.
It can be a very dangerous place. You have to be cautious and you have to be aware of your surroundings every minute.
If it's so hot and muggy that the mosquitoes are ferocious, you have to live through that. If it's bitterly cold and minus 42, you have to be set up and prepared and live through that.
You can be in real serious trouble if you don't have a basic knowledge of the life-saving skills of what to do, what to eat, what not to eat.
We had been growing gradually weaker and weaker, and we'd do some work and have to sit there. Granted, it was hot, but I'd never lost energy like this before. We were building our log cabin, and I was doubled over, shaking violently, throwing up, being sick. We did not want to believe that it could be the water, because if it was the water, we were in trouble. Sure enough, it turned out to be a form of giardia, which is a waterborne parasite.
But again, because they didn't have any metal containers at the time, it's really hard to keep your water purified by boiling.
We had found out when we were in getting tested for giardia that Sue was pregnant. And we came back in, we were thrilled. We were very determined to finish our year in the bush, no matter what. A great moment for us was completing the winter cabin. It had a real feeling of home. That night that we got into our cabin for the first time, we got our first real winter snow. We just got dumped on.
In the wintertime, there's no forgiveness. If it's minus 30, you have to enact your survival mentality immediately, or you're going to perish very quickly. We woke up one morning to Sue having some pretty intense pain.
We radioed into Huron Air for help. It was a snowy day, and the planes couldn't fly.
A little tiny log cabin covered in snow, minus 35, no indoor plumbing, no outhouse, no anything. And Sue's hemorrhaging, and all we have is a bucket.
The night the miscarriage happened, I don't remember a lot of it. I remember the pain, and I remember Les moving around me.
She's losing blood, she's shaking and scared.
I'm very well trained in outdoor emergency care, and that was certainly the scariest time of my life ever.
And then I was helicoptered down to Thunder Bay. The fact that we had lost our first child was very sad and disheartening, of course. You build up such an excitement, and to have it taken away so soon really, you know, it hurts. We went back into the bush as soon as we could after the miscarriage to recuperate, because I believed that that was the best place for me to be.
The time to think, the time to meditate, the time to be physical and active, the time together as a couple.
And it was a magical, magical winter.
We breathed in the fresh air deep. We enjoyed feeling strong, with strong legs and strong backs. That was our best moment, was that collection of our winter exploring. We achieved the year. In spite of all the problems, we accomplished that goal.
Les came back with a very accomplished, solid feeling about himself. His music had changed to a writing of soul writing. He was writing from his heart.
I love performing. I love it dearly. I'm developing a tour right now where I'm going to be taking wilderness film images from all across Canada and a 5-piece band, and we're going to play live to the images.
There's my film, there's my wilderness, there's my music, all together in one beautiful marriage.
The whole point of going for what you believe in and going after your dreams is so important. That's a lesson that I learned, and I hope it's a lesson that we pass on to our children.
I think most importantly for us is we want the kids to understand that the world is wide open to them.
We went down to the lake and we snowshoed down, and then me and Logan started helping get kindling. I got to put some wood on the fire, and I've been putting lots of wood on the fires for Daddy. I have.
What we have planned right now is to sea kayak the entire coast of Canada, and we're going to paddle that as a family, Sue and myself and the 2 kids, and film it. There's no question that that drive that burns within me now, that was never there for 30 years, came certainly and directly as a result of the best year of our lives, the year that I spent in the bush with Sue.